Let's go.
Let's go. Hello and welcome to Boss Talks. Today we're changing gears. Today I've got a great mate of mine from all the way from the USA. His name's Craig and he's a boss. And I'm really privileged to have him on the call. And you might see him a bit more. I'm going to keep getting interesting people on. But today let's keep talking about Craig. So we are doing this podcast because we want you to be the boss of your life. We want you to take control and, not let the comparison game get a hold of you and hold you down. So today we are talking about the comparison game. So before we get into that, Craig, mate, who are you? Why do we care? Like, you're a best-selling author. You're all these awesome things. You're an amazing trauma coach. You're a crypto expert. You've got multiple best-selling books, by the way. And you have you actually on live TV in America quite often. You take it away, mate. Like, I don't want to hold you back. Talk about yourself for a while, mate. I'll really put you on the spot.
That's kind of embarrassing.
Give people something to compare themselves to before we tell them to stop comparing themselves.
Compare yourself. Here's the thing, right? So my name is Craig Sikowski. I'm a trauma and business coach. I move in circles that can be devastating to people. And the reason why I do is because I've had a shit ton of trauma in my life. And I realized that once I got over the old story that I was telling myself, that victim story, and created new chapters for myself, that's why I like writing books, we can get over our thinking. And one of the things that I realized is when you stop comparing yourself to other people, your anxiety and depression goes away. We all have anxiety and depression at some point, even if it's minute. Once you start understanding that comparing yourself is the death of dreams, your whole life changes, and it has for me. For me, one of the biggest challenges has been the last 5 years. I've been sick in my head, had cancer, kicked cancer's ass, and now I'm kicking life's ass. The reason why I'm doing that is because I don't compare myself to anybody anymore. And that is giving me my superpower. And I believe dearly that once you get into your superpower, once you get your quantum thought, right, and you start expressing yourself to become yourself, that's it, man. That's it. Sky's the limit. I mean, you can do anything directed in the right energy. And once you figure out your way, because everybody's got a way. It's just most people don't get out of their own way. Once you get out of your own way, the world changes. I got out of my way.
Oh, mate, that's sensational. What an opening. That's amazing. So, like I actually spent a long time comparing myself to like other business owners and right up until like in different ways until recently even. And yeah, it really doesn't serve you. It really keeps you fearful of like taking more chances. It really is the devil, really.
What happens, right? What happens? You feed time into your fear.
Yeah, you do.
And it's overpowering, and it makes you think differently when you're scared.
Yeah.
But guys like us, we do that shit anyway.
Yeah. You've got to. And really, like the biggest helpful tip that I had was that it doesn't actually matter. Like, no, it doesn't. There's no one there with a bookkeeping score if you fail, and comparing yourself. Like what I see a lot of people doing is they compare their chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 25. And the most empowering thing that I did as a coach and as a speaker and anything that I'm doing now, even any new businesses I go into, is I really just believe that the people that I look up to or like look to for inspiration is a better way of saying it, like, because they're all just people, right? Is, there was a time where they were feeling exactly what I'm feeling now. There was a chapter 3 in their life. And what did they do to get to chapter 4? and that's how I beat it. Like, and that's how I actually get results from that. So instead of, and you can't see anything in anyone else that you can't do yourself. So
Absolutely.
like, you know, perception is projection, and projecting, like a lot of the time people go, well, the negative feeling you're feeling is about someone else is your projection. Well, actually the positive feeling you're feeling about someone else is real too. And it's only just you can do yourself. So anything you see like Tony Robbins doing, you can do, you know.
Absolutely.
See like any of your, if you're in an MLM, your leaders doing, you can do yourself. The only thing that's going to stop you is
believe
comparison.
in yourself.
Huh?
As long as you believe in yourself.
As long as you believe in yourself.
But never believe that lie in the middle.
No.
Like one of my biggest downfalls is I actually believed the copy that I was writing because I was creating my own headlines.
Yeah.
Right? So I'd be on at a convention talking about real estate, finance, note creation, whatever. I'd get off the stage. People would come up to me and be like, "Oh, you know, you're the dude. You're this." I actually believed that I was the dude, and that was my downfall. I was emotionally insecure for a lot of reasons. Right? I thought I was like the businessman guy, right? The go-to guy because I was the one with all the information. But what I realized, that information changed. So when I started becoming a trauma coach, the information that I'm giving people never changes. It's the interpretation of how people are going to get out of their trauma that changes. Because everybody has trauma, but trauma is trauma. So the basic fundamentals of trauma in the brain, the disconnect that we have from ourselves, just bridge the gap to reconnect people with who they're supposed to be, not what society says they need to be.
Yeah, totally. And like the thing that the story I told myself so much was that I didn't want the accolades. I didn't want people coming and reading my headlines and like, you know, hey, you're the man, you got all the information, you're the man. Until like I got some fairly great lessons from Kirik Ashley. And he said that, because he gets this all the time, right? And he says, that's got nothing to do with you. Them saying that has everything to do with them needing to close the loop for themselves. They need to reciprocate because you've just given them so much, and them thanking you has nothing to do with you being the man. It's actually them making them feel better and reciprocating for you. Like, so it's a two-way street. And if you block that stuff off and don't allow people to thank you, and not take it on like and actually believe the stuff that they're saying, because it's not real, it's just their words.
Their interpretation of who you are.
You're just blocking off so much good that's coming to you from the universe. So let people, it's yin and yang, it's a two-way street. You need to allow that to happen to allow other things to come through, because, you know, if you're blocking it off there, you're going to be blocking it off somewhere else.
Social blocks.
So
it's like when somebody wants to buy you dinner, okay? And you're like, you know what? No, that's okay. Why are you denying that person the satisfaction of buying you dinner?
It's ego, man. I used to have it.
Everything is ego, bro. Everything is ego. And once we have an ego death, which is what I talk about a lot, once you have an ego death, the world is yours. Because in the grand scheme of things, we're not that important, but we are very important. And once you start to realize how important you are, just for you, not for anybody else, right? You got to get happy for yourself, and you got to stop waiting for events. People love events. When I'm married, I'm going to get happy. When I get money, I'm going to get happy. When I get the car, I'm going to get happy. Be happy now. This way, when the event does happen, now you're ecstatic.
100%.
Different way of looking at life. It's quantum thought. And once people get out of their thinking, and once they move forward in that energy, that straightforward energy, whole world changes. Your external world changes based off your internal world.
Yeah, well, we are creating our situation. Like I brought that up last week. But like it's hit me like a ton of bricks. There's no such thing as a victim. We're all creators. We're all creating everything.
All creating this mystical life. This mystical life. I mean, I look at the stuff that I've done in my life, right? It's nothing compared to what I am doing.
Yes.
Nothing. And people tell me like, your life is this and your life is that. And I'm like, well, if you see it that way, but I got nothing to compare it to because it's my life, right? So I'm the creator, I'm the producer, I'm the director, I'm the actor, I'm the star, I'm the villain also. And once I start seeing that villain again, that
Cool.
fleeting thought just goes away. As soon as that disempowering stuff enters my head, right, or it just gets to the skull, just knock it away, man. You got to redirect your energy. So if the bad energy is coming, just redirect it into good energy.
So like when people come to you, obviously this hasn't just happened overnight for you, and this hasn't happened overnight for me either. And I believe we're both still a work in progress, and we're going to get better and better at it.
I never stop learning. I never stop learning.
But when someone's playing the comparison game and they're getting those thoughts in their head, and like how do you help them become aware? Like, what's a process that you could help the listeners with around getting over that stinking thinking, the comparison game, the bullshit?
I want to know, like, if somebody comes up to me and they're comparing themselves to somebody else, right? I want to have a deep dive conversation with them to find out who told them they need to compare themselves, right? So we're going to go back. We're going to go back to whatever trauma that, and it's usually childhood shit. It's usually always childhood stuff. From 0 to 8, right? We form our adulthood, and people don't really understand that. So for me, right, I was molested as a little kid. The only reason why I say that is because it's a different story now. It's not a disempowering story for me because I helped thousands, okay? So it took me to learn my other story, the one that I needed to tell, to get all of this disempowering energy out of my head. Once it came out, nobody can hold anything against me anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of people need to do. They need to write their story, however you want to, whatever metaphors you want to use, but they need to use their own pen. A lot of people write their chapters with somebody else's pen, somebody else getting into their head. And once they figure out that it's your pen that you use, the comparison will go away. Sometimes it takes 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes it takes 20 days. Sometimes it takes 3 months. It depends on the person because everybody is different. Everybody has different stories that they're telling themselves. I want to know who or what event triggered that.
Yeah.
So once we go back into that, like I listen to a lot of people talking about how you're not supposed to take somebody back to the story because it's written. No, fuck that. I rip Band-Aids open. I rip the wounds open, right? We all have scars, but we only have scars once we start to heal. And the more I do this with people, I heal more and more. And my superpower becomes me. And once people realize that that's their superpower is themselves, forget about all the outside influences. We just use those to trigger different events for us, right? Life coaches, mentors, and all this other stuff. I have people like, what can you do for me? Nothing. I can't do anything for you. What are you going to do for yourself? We used to run this 1,000 millionaire challenge, have people want to become millionaires. And the funniest thing was people would be like, I want to become a millionaire, but I don't know what I want to do. Wasting my time. Because if you can't figure out why you want to become a millionaire, like, are you want to become a millionaire to show your friends, or you want to become a millionaire because you know you can help thousands of people, right? Stop practicing the law of scarcity because that's what we do. We want to fill up everybody else's cups, but we don't think that we deserve our cups to be filled. How can you pour from an empty vessel? That's what I see a lot of people doing.
Oh, 100%. It's, yeah, there's a lot of it out there, 100%. And like, and they're good people often. Like they have great intentions. But I do see, like, honestly, like look at Bill Gates. He's helped way more people by being rich than he could have if he was just at the soup kitchen. And there's no disrespect there. Like, I'm just saying, like, the impact you can have when you're wealthy,
absolutely,
is far, far greater. And you know, and comparing,
because you can open up more soup kitchens for people to volunteer in.
Yeah,
And that's what people like, they want to get this, they want to get this mental release, right? They want to become spiritual.
Yeah.
And what I do is I help people like just flip the story. I don't think I want to become enlightened. I already know I'm enlightened. I chose this meat suit for a reason, right? I think we're light seeking the human experience. So that goes away from all spirituality. That goes away from all the religion. That goes away from all the self-sabotaging, destructive thoughts that we have. We are all gods, right? It's just that a lot of people think that God is gold, oil, and drugs. And that's what society is nowadays. And once people start to understand that they are the God within, life changes quick. The universe will get out of your way when you have aligned yourself with all the bullshit that you have in your head. The universe just says, whoa, here comes another one. Here comes another, get out of the way. Let him do his thing. Let her do her thing. And that is like one of the biggest rewards that I get, is when somebody, after I meet up with somebody or talk with somebody, they have this empowering aha moment. That's what I get off on now. I don't get off on, oh, he's the guy. No, you're the person because you're the one that actually took control over your situation. And that's really empowering people. When they've been walking around 40, 50 years thinking about the same bullshit, and you can get them a release because they actually took the time to deep dive into their thoughts. And it's very hard for people. It's simple. It's not easy.
Yeah. And like, honestly, it's worth it though. It's worth the work. It's worth the search, because
I never thought I could be like this. I never thought in a million years that my life can be the way it is. And it's not even about the material possessions. It's not about, having gazillions in the bank, because we all know that that's not yours. That's a different conversation for another day.
That's a different boss talk. Don't get you started.
But I mean, success is what you define it as, right? If you want to be a teacher and that's what you love to do, you're a success. If you want to be a garbage man and you love to clean up the community, you're a success. People think like one of the biggest challenges that I had was when I became monetarily wealthy. I got into so many self-sabotaging behaviors for the simple reason that I wasn't emotionally mature enough to handle the new responsibilities that I had that came along with what society says is a success. Actually, I was a failure. And I realized that, and then I just went on vacation for 7 years to figure out what I wanted to do.
It's huge, mate. Like I know a lot of I know a lot of depressed millionaires, and I know a lot of people that became successful, and then like it's like the prize that's sold on Instagram. It's the prize that's sold on social media. It's the prize that's sold when you buy a lottery ticket. And they get there and they work their asses off to get there. There's no doubt. And they become super depressed because they just don't know.
Super depressed.
There's nothing. The money didn't fill the void.
No, it didn't. It was a temporary void. It was a temporary void.
Well, like you look at people like Charlie Sheen. That guy's made so much freaking money, and
he's done so much drugs.
He's on the way out. Like realistically, like that guy it wasn't the money. The money didn't. He's on the way out. He didn't need to be. He could. Yeah, he was one of the most talented guys on the planet, and it didn't do it. It's not the house. It's not the. A lot of people work hard in the beginning for the money and the stuff, and it's the ones that realize eventually it's not the money and the stuff that make it. And some people just keep going because they can't find that hole, like fill that hole in their soul. So yeah, like it's why you do the work. It's why you do the work, and don't compare yourself, because there's always going to be someone richer, smarter, prettier.
Of course, because everybody's got a different experience.
Oh, except for us, mate. Like no one's better looking than us.
Yeah, I know. I tell people all the time I have a face for radio.
Yeah, well, hey, we're recording now, so mate, that's so true. And like, just do you. Don't compare yourself. All the successful people that you think have got it going on and got it all worked out, they haven't got it worked out any better than the next person. They're just taking action, and they've lost the need to compare themselves to others probably more than you have yet. That's probably the thing that they've done, where they've just gone, you know what, stuff it. I'm going to have a go. Anything's better than staying where I am. And in the comparison game. So yeah. Anything else you
look
want
at
to add?
social media. Look at social media. Everybody thinks that everybody's life is amazing because of that, 35, 40-second soundbite where it's like, hey, look at my Lamborghini.
Yeah, I got to give it back at the end of the day.
Right after that, the rental company comes, picks it up, and drives it away, and they go shoot something else.
Exactly. And then, the $10,000 like on the bed that you borrowed off your dad that you put on there, and that awesome $3,000 program that someone else sold. It's helping someone make $3,000 as well. It's like just pass the parcel of $3,500. It's ridiculous.
You know what this is? You know what this is?
I don't know.
That's a treasure. Okay.
That's a treasure. Oh, yes.
That can hold millions. Okay, electronic millions, and people will put $10,000 of like trash cash on a bed and be like, "Look, I'm successful." Every time I see that on social media, I always say the same thing: you need a treasure. I grew up in New Jersey. We used to talk about cash without the flash. And, everybody wants a Lambo now. Everybody wants a Bentley. Everybody wants a jet. And it's like everybody. Most people don't want to do the work to get it. And that's 2019. Everybody wants it instantaneously. There is no elevator to the top floor. You got to take the stairs, man. Everything is sweat equity.
100%. Like when you get it in your head that you need to be happy in the now and enjoy the journey, then that's the way to win. Because like I do want a Bentley one day, not to drive and stick it to anyone. I don't care if no one knows I got it. I'll have tinted windows and no one will know I'm driving it. I don't care. But I'm just thinking how cool it's going to be to do the things I need to do and help enough people to deserve that reward. And that's what lights me up. And if I don't get it, well, it doesn't mean I'm not going to help people. And same with the jet, same with the trips, same with the, work hard so you can stay somewhere nice, help a lot of people.
Why not?
Just do it. And don't do it so you got a flashy social media, post so you can like show everyone how amazing you are and then go back to your crappy life. Sort your shit out first. Sort your life out and work it out now and learn how to be happy today. And learn how to enjoy your life now, because, like I've mentioned it before, it's something that really changed me. Was when I wanted to like go first class to overseas, and this was on a previous podcast for those of you that haven't heard it. But I wanted to go first class on Emirates to New York, and I didn't believe I could do it until my coach actually got it up on Google and said, actually, it's not as expensive as I thought it was. But before he convinced me not to book it, because I was like, shit, I can book that now. And he said, hang on a minute, let's wait. Let's suggest we do this. He goes, because if you are going on this trip to make you happy, and you can find a way to not actually feel that feeling of happiness now. He says, my fear for you is if you can find a way to not be happy now, then when you get on that plane, you'll be able to run that pattern again and find a way to not be happy then. And he goes, and that'd be horrible, because it's a dream of yours to do that, and you're just going to find a way not to be happy when you do it.
Exactly.
And it blew my mind. It took me ages, and every time I tell that story, it empowers me even more to be happy in the now. Don't worry about, I know there's probably, 10,000 people flying to New York today, first class. I don't know, probably heaps more than that. But I don't feel like I'm missing out, because I know my time's coming, and I'm happy now without it. So why
not be happy now? Be happy now.
Yeah.
Push your life into that energy to where instead of first class, it's your own jet.
Yeah, man.
It's a different.
I don't know. I just know I'm going there in style, and I'm stoked. And like I'm setting a goal to get the whole family first class, because why not enjoy it on your own? Do something big, because it's a stretching goal. It's great. So, man, stop comparing yourself. Any last words?
All right, so here's one of the things, right? You know, we have two meatballs and a mic, right? So my buddy Thomas that I do it with, we were
He's
talking
also
the
a
other
boss.
day. Yeah, oh, he's great. So we were talking the other day, and he's like, you know what he does? Because you know, like, so you're gonna take that first class trip with your family, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of it, you might not be happy. I'm not saying you. I'm just talking about in general, right? Somebody's gonna buy a big ticket item and be like, well, now what, right? Like that's what when I became a millionaire. I was like, now what? Like, fuck, I'm stuck, right? So what he does, this is funny. He'll go to a store, load up the carriage, right? Get all of that burst of energy, like, oh, this is great, and then he'll just leave the carriage and walk out. I was like, that's a boss move, man, because he's getting the joy, right? But he's not gonna have buyer's regret. Because for that, so he's got that high from what we get when we enjoy something, right? But he doesn't have that buyer's remorse.
Exactly.
So it's like little things that you can do in your life.
Little tricks, man. Exactly.
Little tricks, man. Little tricks. But I appreciate being on your podcast, brother. I really appreciate it.
Mate, that was awesome. We're definitely going to have you back. And, yeah, like sensational. We'll come up with some juicy topics, mate. I'll trigger you right off and you'll go on this big rant and I'll be able to just click off and you'll take over. It'll be great. Guys,
I appreciate it.
Mate, guys, if this has been awesome for you, please share it like to someone that needs to hear it, someone that needs to stop comparing themselves because, you know, we're not getting out of here alive. And in 100 years, like none of the stuff that you're worried about would have even mattered because we'll all be dead. So it won't matter. it's the truth. We won't be here. We'll be on the next journey, most of us. And anything that you're worrying about today that you're not going to worry about on your deathbed, screw it. And don't even worry about it then. So, yeah. Have a most outstanding day, guys, and I'll see you on the next episode.